Welcome everyone to this program, a Healing Talk Show. God is still on his throne. Vivid View, say and do it. To see what is right and not do it is lack of courage. Say something, somebody.
To see what is right and not do it is lack of courage. From my own point of view, when you see what is right and you're not able to do it, is also lack of courage. You need to be courageous in order for you to do anything you want to do in life. So that's how I see it.
To see what is right and not do it is lack of courage. I believe that in a world of compromise, it takes a lot of faith, it takes a lot of self-determination, it takes a lot of guts to ensure that you stand for what is right, to stand for what is true. And that's what courage is all about. So this is just trying to encourage us that we need to stand out for what is true, for what is right. And it takes a lot of courage to do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your contributions. To see what is right and not do it is lack of knowledge. It's just telling you to deal with fear. We're always very fearful to do what is right. Even when we see people doing something wrong, to correct them becomes an issue. You say, I don't want him to enter me. That's the problem we have even in the politics today. We see what our politicians are doing. Nobody could. The elites could not even stop them and say, this thing you're doing is wrong. They will enter me, you go after my life. So they will not speak. Even at your workplace, you see your colleague, committing fraud, stealing the company's money or company property. You keep quiet. You don't want to say it. They say not me. If they start coming, look, we have so many reasons that we give, but that is not right. Because we know that what that person is doing is not right. That was it. To see what is right, don't do. It's lack of knowledge. So you need to deal with your fear and be able to approach people. In the school, in your exam hall, and maybe some of you will laugh, hey, you see your classmates carry textbook to the exam hall to copy, or write in what handkerchief, or even in the body, and you will not talk. Now me go talk if I say they do this. So I think that is where we are today. We fear a lot. We fear so much in family, and the workplace, in the church. They will not even say the truth because the elder is the one contributing money, in the church. They will not rebuke the guy if he makes mistake. All these things are wrong. So we need to call a spade, and be courageous. Deal with your fear in everything and everywhere you are. Let truth be your watchword. All right, having said this, we'll go straight. We'll continue with our program for the day. Indeed, there are two faces or two sides of a coin, which means for every advantage, there's also a disadvantage. You get to know more about this as the discussion progresses. Social media regulations, pros and cons, is the topic for today's discussion. The guests will be introduced shortly after this break. Please don't go away. Vivid View,
say and do it.
Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, the topic again is social media regulation, the pros and cons. And with me in the studio is a legal practitioner. Let's make welcome Arinola Adebimpe.
Vivid View, say and do it.
Before discussion proper, please follow us on social media handles are displayed on the screen. You're welcome again.
Thank you so much for having me.
So your brief introduction, definition, and perspective of this subject matter.
Social media regulation is the government trying to put a leash on something that went loose before their eyes, before they were able to catch it. The era of social media started, say, like 1999, 2000. There was Facebook Messenger, there was Yahoo Messenger. 1999, 2000, and that was the beginning of the eclipse, the beginning of the change. There was Yahoo Mail. I had my first Yahoo Mail in the year 2000, my first email address. So in that season, it began. Facebook started in, I think, 2003 or 2004, and other platforms started. There's a particular chart online that talks about the rise of each one, how each one rose, how they lost face and all. And then gradually they have gained prominence. Gradually, they are gaining ground, they are gaining authority, they are controlling the narrative all over the world in different countries. They are controlling the narrative more now than print media, than regular media.
That's true.
And the government is seeing that they have a big say, you know, in events. They cannot be ignored anymore in doing business, in government regulation, even in international conversations. They cannot be ignored anymore. And going by what happened in 2020, the NSAS issue, it has become obvious now that they cannot be ignored. And so the government approach, our government approach, is to put regulations to clamp down on certain things. Now, while I agree that there are some things that need to be clamped down on, because as a social media person,
yeah, that's true.
there are some things that need to be clamped down on. Care has to be taken to ensure that the rights of the citizenry is not taken away from them. And those rights are not just rights that Nigeria protects, they are rights that the United Nations protects. They are rights that are contained by the Sustainable Development Goals. I mean, the SDG Goal 16 talks about attaining peace, justice, and strong institutions. If we're going to have strong institutions, then we're not just talking about strong governments. We're talking about strong economies. We're talking about strong policies. We're talking about strong cultures. All of that does not just rest on government. It rests on the attitude, it rests on the perspective, it rests on the position of the people. And that is fostered by freedom of speech. So if you take all of that out of the ability to speak on social media, then really there's really not much that is left in the name of the democracy that we are advocating.
And I thank you so much for that. We'll take the second question before I break. What are the implications if the bill is passed into law? Because we are hearing rumors that it's going to pass bill very soon. Social media is also trending concerning this regulation. And what is the reason why I decided to bring it now? So we can understand, you know, where we're going to.
The bill has been proposed. It has passed the first reading in the National Assembly.
You see what I mean?
Yes.
Okay.
And it means for it to have passed the first reading in the National Assembly, it means that the Senate and the House of Reps have approved it, because that's the joint house. Yes, you need that kind of composition based on the Constitution for something of this nature. So if the bill is passed, first of all, we don't know the contents of the bill.
No, we
right?
haven't.
But Nigeria has,
for now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The government of Nigeria has antecedents. Amnesty International claims that no less than 15 journalists were threatened, arrested, or disappeared sometime within the last 5-6 years. So we have antecedents. So those antecedents fuel the fears of the people. Valid fears. You understand? If it's a system where you can talk, and even if you are out of line, you'll be cautioned appropriately, people will not be afraid. But it's a system where one social media platform was locked down in the Nigerian airways because they said something against a certain. And so people have their valid fears. You understand? But on the other hand, these people, because Nigeria has deteriorated into a lawless system.
I'm telling you.
So any opportunity to vent, you know that even though there's freedom of speech, okay, so Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution provides fundamental human rights. One of them is freedom of speech. The African Charter on Human and People's Rights provides for freedom of speech. The United Nations Charter on Human and People's Rights provides for freedom of speech. So it is an international regulation. It is an international provision.
It's not a Nigerian thing alone.
No, it's a treaty that is signed across borders. That people should be free to talk. But in certain climes where the civilization is actually civil, the people are civil, they have respect for each other's spaces, they have respect for the other person's dignity to some extent, then that right, freedom of speech, blanket as it is, can be left in the open. But in a place like Nigeria, where the average Nigerian has been subdued, is living in servitude in his own space, and you know, slaves and servants, they don't talk. But the small opportunity they get to talk, they overtalk.
Violence. They get into violence.
That's the Nigerian situation. That is the Nigerian situation. So it's neither here nor there. Because for one, okay, one of the limitations to freedom of speech is if you speak against somebody else, if you speak and you accuse the person of something and your accusation is wrong, the person can take you to court. It's called defamation.
Yes.
So that's the limitation to freedom of speech. So there are certain limitations to these freedoms that are all over the place. Even the right to life, right to everything. There are certain limitations that sort of put boundaries on the excesses of mankind. There are boundaries that are put on them. But in the Nigerian context, there is a claim. I read the comments of was it the minister or the DG of the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission that said that social media has become a monster that must be dealt with. How do you deal with a monster? You put a monster in chains. So we should assume that they're going to put social media in chains. So if they're going to put social media in chains, then what's left to ability to wake up and say, oh, I don't like the fact that Naira is deteriorating and the dollar is catching against us. What is the government doing? The government can wake up and say they don't like what he said. I don't like the fact that, see, look at what happened in the last elections. Information was published, yes, and people kept taking the information and interpreting it
in a different way. We
don't know what the bill is going to contain. Maybe the bill can say that you cannot interpret it, or if you interpret it, you will be termed a terrorist. We don't know. So while there is the need to stop the spread of falsehood, I agree. Nigerians can make a mountain out of a molehill for want of anything else to do. Make the government look bad. Or even in these days of AI, where
intelligence,
I can be sitting here like this. They will create a scenario of me sitting down with the president and I'm pointing fingers in his eyes. AI can do it. Me that I'm sitting down, I can create the AI. I can create it. I saw a video of a girl. She was sitting down with the Queen of England before the Queen passed, and she was having tea. On LinkedIn, the video went viral. The girl now came back to say that she only did that to prove a point, that she wasn't sitting with the Queen. Yeah.
Can you imagine?
The girl came back to say that she only did that to prove a point. She was not sitting with the Queen. She was sitting in France when the video went viral. So there is the need to put measures in place to manage the excesses of mankind. But those measures are cutting the fear of the average Nigerian. Yeah. Because even in scenarios where things have been caught live on camera, they have been denied.
Wow.
How much more when they are not caught live on camera? So there are benefits that the bill can, provide for the people, for the government, for the sanity of the country. But then, based on the Nigerian system, Nigerians have valid fears. We have valid fears on what will be left of us.
All right, thank you so much. We'll take a break now. Vivid View. Say and do it. Welcome back. We are still dealing with social media regulations, the pros and the cons. Of course, whatever had advantage, like I said earlier, also have disadvantage. There are actually advantages for social media to be regulated. Yeah. There is. There also disadvantage. And that's, we're already picking them one by one, the advantage and disadvantage one after the other. And I say, how can we determine fake news on social media? Because this is one of the disadvantages actually that they are trying to point at. Fake news. Before you know it, you have different reports for one particular issue, different reports, more than 100 reports on one issue. How do you now determine which is fake and which is right?
One of the things we need to learn is how to interpret the social media history of whoever is talking to you. First of all, a new account. You know that on a lot of platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube.
So many now.
There are certain privileges that an account that is less than 6 months old don't have. There's a reason. Even the platform is trying to watch you. It's trying to verify you. It's trying to, because I was going to get to the point of self-regulation. Social media platforms should be given guidelines for self-regulation and not be regulated. Because some of them have self-regulation mechanisms in place. It is why on Facebook, if a new account cannot run ads, if it's less than 6 months, you won't even have the ad option there. Because it's new, they are watching you. It is why on Instagram, there are some things you cannot trigger if you don't have certain privileges. It is why there are some monetization opportunities you don't have on certain platforms because you are in Nigeria. They are self-regulated. It is why on YouTube, there are certain things you cannot post once you are in Nigeria. They are self-regulated already. So the government should look for how to help them be self-regulated. So going back to how to know fake news. First of all, a new account just wakes up one sunny afternoon and comes to tell you that they are the voice of the president, you should know now that something is amiss.
Yes.
Because the governor, the president, the senate president, the police service commission, they have standard platforms through which they disseminate information. If you don't know that, then know that today.
Yeah.
So if you pick up information, and you also need to go and learn how to interpret URLs. The fact that you see police service commission in the URL does not mean it's coming from the police service commission.
Ambition.
The .org is where you will know where it's coming from. It is the end. The last few letters, the 7 to 10 letters, they are a better cue to tell you where the information is coming from, and not the first few. The same way scammers want to mimic your bank. You just see something, Zenith Bank, .UCMI something. It's not Zenith Bank. Because if it's Zenith Bank, you are going to see whatever, .Zenith Bank. You can now see / something. But if it's not that, it's not Zenith Bank. So people need to go and learn how to interpret social media platforms. Somebody that wants to wake up and tell me the governor of Lagos State has a bad record. He's not doing a good job. Let me go and read his timeline. What has he been saying in the last 1 year? Is he in the habit of attacking everybody? Maybe he's the opposition leader of social media. Maybe his job is to attack everybody. Is he there? Does he have personal history with the governor? Whereof I can now say, okay, their relationship has gone bad. Is why he suddenly comes to tell me. Let us not just take information. One information and run with it. Let us cross-check across other platforms. In recent years, we have heard different stories of even celebrities. People that are living their life in their corner. Oh, this celebrity died. And then the celebrity shows up in a live video and says, I didn't die, oh, I'm well and fine. Oh, this celebrity lost his mind. And then you see the picture of the celebrity and his wife. So we don't even know where to draw the line on information that we should put our mouth, information we should peddle. That's part of why the bill is important.
Exactly.
Actually. We don't know where to put our mouth. We don't know what to spread. Somebody lost his wife, not his first wife. The next question is, why did his first wife die and the second wife die? We have no emotional balance, no emotional control, no understanding of circumstances.
Anything that enters our mind, we just
say. We just say. We should train ourselves.
No verification of facts.
Oh. We just say. So why we want to say, okay, we don't want the government to clamp down on our rights, we ourselves, the rights, how are we using it? Are we using it in a way that we can say we have been moderate in our activities? We are not moderate. So fake accounts, look at the URL, learn how to interpret URL. Look at the history of that account. How old is the account? 1, because the account can be set up solely for the purpose of this negative media that they are trying to project.
Yes.
Or this unnecessarily positive idea of one person or one situation that they are trying to project. And then what's the history of that account? Go through some of the comment section. You will see if the person has constantly given information and information has been constantly challenged with evidence. You will know. Don't just pick information and circulate. Be careful with those kind of activities.
All right, thank you so much. Can social media be used for promoting healthy society?
Absolutely. If print media and electronic media can be used for promoting healthy society.
That is one of the pros now. Yes.
Why can't social media be used? I remember when we were young. I don't know if any of you, I know that Ma will know this song. Me, I like my country. I like the land and people. Everything is there for Nigeria. Make we join hands to make Nigeria better. Please, why don't the government create those kind of jingles and circulate them? Use paid ads to push them on social media. Because the narrative doesn't change overnight. It changes suddenly. The power of social media did not start in 1 year. We're looking at 20 years of Facebook.
Yeah.
It's the biggest platform. 30 billion viewers daily. It didn't happen in 1 day. Can't we start with those kind of narratives? I remember when the Babangida administration started, don't abuse the Naira. I don't know if you remember. We kept seeing videos of people treating the Naira rights, and we started treating the Naira rights. So it can be used to push any agenda. If we have any concerted effort for anything good, social media can be used to push it.
Actually, the best to do that.
The best way.
Yeah.
And you get experts who know how to do it in the most subtle of ways. Because social media works with subtlety. Direct messages are ignored. It is in the subtle messages. It is in the subtle ideas. It is in the subtle concepts. That's where the messages are accepted. So absolutely, I respect the value and the capacity of social media to drive the narrative.
Yeah.
Media is the watchdog, the agenda setters, they are the gatekeepers. Social media is at the top,
honestly,
of that media function today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As it were. Yeah. There's no that actually to of what social media can do if we talk about promoting anything in the society.
Absolutely.
Social media takes the lead actually. Absolutely. But what we're concerned is how, if it's possible for us to curtail this fake news, and people will know what they're supposed to do at the right time. Don't just bring fake news that will cause commotion, that will bring hypertension to people.
Division.
Division and so those are the things where they are trying actually to see if they can curtail. And I believe, well, like you said, we don't know what the bill is, the content of the bill.
At this point, the content.
So when we now know, we know with the area for us to go, whether it's actually going to infringe on human rights or not. But we cannot really say, as we just discussed it now. Okay, we'll take a break now. Then when we come back, we'll continue. Vivid View.
Say and do it.
Welcome back. Still discussing social media regulations, the pros and the cons. So the last question from me.
Yes, sir.
What is now the pros and the cons of this social media? What are the advantages and disadvantages? I want to atomize them as quick as you can.
One benefit of social media is quick dissemination of information. One benefit. Quick dissemination. Information that could used to be passed in months in the 70s, in weeks in the 50s, in days in the 60s, today is passed in minutes and seconds. So that is one benefit. Another phenomenal benefit of social media is the ability to grow business. Oh, easy way to grow business in this economy where fuel is magic. Work from home is the order of the day. I work from my house. I go out when I have to. Social media can be used to do that. Social media can be used to build credibility for any agenda, NGO, private, whatever. Yes, social media can be used to build credibility for. Social media can be used to gather research, to get an opinion poll. For example, I believe that an opinion poll should have been done for this social media regulation bill.
Yeah.
An easy way to do opinion poll. If the federal government sends out opinion poll that they want us to talk, everybody will go and talk. People, everybody wants to say their mind to the government. Just give us a questionnaire. Everybody will go and talk. Social media helps to make the world a global village.
For studying, search and research.
It helps to unify everybody. It helps to make us feel more like one. Easier to identify with an American. Easier to identify with Barack Obama, with Joe Biden.
Yes.
Because they are easily accessible to me. I don't have to travel. I just need to get on my phone. I can see their videos. I can see them in their personal lives. I can relate to them. I can identify with them. Social media is a place where people build relationships. I have built formidable relationships on social media. That's like 5 benefits. There are some people I work with on social media I've never met. Some of them I've heard their voice.
Yes.
Yes. So that is to say that there are still credible relationships that can be built there. That's on the one hand for the benefits. On the other hand, social media is an easy way to cause commotion. Social media is an easy way to generate bad publicity for any idea that you don't like.